How's it going, everybody? Moose here. It is July 27th, 2019. Saturday around, must be 12:30-ish, I assume. I'm on my 2006 Road King today, and I am going to work for an 8-hour day. But the point of this video is to not discuss my travels to work. Excuse me. I wanted to touch base a little bit on the Sena 10C Pro, or Sena 10C Pro. I'm not really sure if you pronounce it Sena or Sena. I've heard it both ways. And what I think of the camera system so far, and certain things I've learned about the camera so far that may be of use to other individuals out there who may be thinking about buying one or already own one. Originally I had the 10C that broke on me last year on a trip, and it wasn't fixable as far as I was concerned, so I tossed it. I figured I'd just go back to GoPro full time and use my other Sena to do the audio through the Bluetooth backpack on my GoPro Hero 3 Black, I think. But it became kind of a pain because I really did like the 10C for the fact that you could just, it's always there. You can just push the button and you don't have to worry about putting the camera on or turning on a backpack or anything like that. You can just use it. It's just handy. So I went ahead and bought the 10C Pro, and I do like the fact that it does 60 frames now instead of just 30 at 1080p, which is nice. I usually run a 64 gig card inside the system, and that's where one of the first things I want to touch on. I found that I thought I'd try going with a 128 gig card. I put those in my GoPros, and the GoPros work fine with a 128 gig card. I'm sorry about all the wind. It's going to get worse, so. Alright, sorry about that. So where was I? Yeah. I decided to replace the 64 gig card with a 128 gig card, figuring because on those long trips I run the camera a good amount of the day with a battery pack on the back of the helmet, which works out really well. And oddly enough, the Sena doesn't seem to take up the same amount of card space as the GoPro does when it records. I'm assuming that's because of the way the file format's recorded. They both record in MP4. However, the GoPro gives you a couple of the files along with that MP4, whereas the Sena is just straight on MP4, so there's no other files to take up room within the disk space of the micro SD card. So I put the 128 gig card inside the Sena, and it does record. It's no problem there. It will record. However, I noticed it got some weird glitches within the video, like interference, kind of. Another thing I noticed was that a lot of times you turn the camera on and you go to push record, it will say no SD card found. However, you hit it a second time, it will start recording. So, I figured that's all right, but the glitch in the video I wasn't very happy with. I never noticed that glitch inside the 64 gig card. So I went ahead and stuck the 64 back in here, and I figured I got two other 64 gig cards that came out of my GoPros. If I ever needed more room, I could do so on a trip by just formatting those cards to the Sena. I thought that'd be interesting information for some of those out there who might have it or thinking about getting it, that the 128 gig card will record, but don't expect the quality of video you get from the 64 gig card. So we're probably better off just sticking with the 64 gig. As far as the unit itself goes, I'm really quite pleased with it so far. I haven't had any of the issues that Harley Day Rider had and a couple other people I've had with hearing the echo in the back of your helmet inside the speakers. So I imagine it's just a few of those that do that. I hope they guys get that fixed up for you pretty soon and you don't have that problem anymore. As a communicator, It works out pretty good. 4 riders on it, including yourself, which is nice. I like smaller groups, so that works out fine. And I only really use that when I go riding with Mike Haley 7 and Harley Trek. None of the other people I ride with down here, when I do ride with them, have communicators, so that wasn't a real big issue for me. The camera itself for taking photos works out pretty well. It's an easy enough system to use, just like the 10C is, or was, either way you want to look at it. Just got a little better video. I think it picks up the clouds in the sky really well. It produces a nice video. It doesn't look washed out at all. That's the one issue I have in my Hero 5 GoPro, is it kind of washes out the sky. Like, I can't distinguish very well the different light points, whereas this camera seems to do really well. If I was going to work on improvements to this system, and this would go along with the 10C as well, because they're both the exact same mounting system, basically the same camera system and how they work, just a different color case, and this one has a few more features. I haven't used the higher definition video yet. I really don't see any point in it. But if I was going to change something, the rotatable lens that's mounted on the camera only turns one way. And depending on the curvature of your helmet, that could be a problem. The Shoei Neotech I have, I noticed that it must have quite a slope, so I got to turn the camera all the way to the lock position of the lens off what it comes. It's perfectly centered if the camera is up and down. And I think the lens should have more rotation, maybe more like the Drift, where it has like 180 degree rotation. There's no reason why they couldn't have put that in there. Why they put a lock on it, I don't know. Because then you could actually turn it better and get a better quality video. I mean, mine I think is pretty straight right now, but had it been a little more angled, that wouldn't have been the case. Another thing I think they can improve on is the mount system. Not the one that clamps to the helmet. I think that's a very good mount system. It comes on and off easy. It's nice. There's no electrical points in there like the Sena 20S or the 10s have, anything like that. But the sticky mount. Now, if you use the sticky mount, there's no adjustment on the sticky mount. It's just stick it and forget it, and that's all you get. You get the adjustment of your camera lenses because that's on the camera, but as far as twisting back and forth, that's not possible because it's just a stationary, stagnant mount. I made a mount for my other one. I think I threw it away when I threw the camera away like an idiot. But I actually cut apart a clamp mount system for a Sena, and I made my own aluminum mount out of that, which gave me the ability to stick it and then stick it on the helmet and then rotate it back and forth as I saw fit, which worked out well. The wireless functionality of the camera works decent. Works about as decent as any other camera I've had with a wireless connection or Bluetooth connection to a, like a cell phone where you can see the video. As always, there's some video lag when you move back and forth, which is common. It does glitch a little bit. It's not perfect stream flow, but I think that's not anything to do with the Sena itself at this point. I think that's just more or less the technology they have out there right now for cameras. They can't get an even flow to the device they're on. There's always going to be a little lag. I think they get better and better every year or every so many years, but that's one issue. But I don't use that function very often. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the unit. I wish they would have came out with that 10C Evo or 10 Evo, whatever it was called, but my guess is they brought this one out because they couldn't figure out how to make that one work right now, and they're probably still working on it. Because as you know, it was coming soon for, 2 years at least? I don't even know if it's on their website anymore. I haven't looked. Price point on this, not horrible. About in line with what the 10C was. Cheaper than a GoPro, but doesn't have all the functions a GoPro might have for ease of use for different mounts and things. However, it does have a communicator in it and Bluetooth audio, HD, which is very useful, especially for those of us who do this as a hobby. So yeah, I mean, if I would say if anybody's looking at getting one, it's worth the buy. I don't know if it'd be worth the purchase if you had a 10C already, unless you're having issues with that unit, or you just absolutely have to have the other 30 frames per second and the other higher frame rate of video for higher quality video from the, 2.7K, I think. that it offers. If I still had the 10C and I was using it and it wouldn't have broke, I probably wouldn't have upgraded right now, knowing what I know. However, after getting it, I do like the functions it has over the 10C. So it'd be kind of a split. I guess it depends if you had the extra money just to buy it, yeah, go for it. If you don't have the extra money and the 10C is working, I don't see any reason to strap yourself to put the money into the 10C Pro. I guess I could put it that way. Me, it was different. I broke the other one, so I really didn't have any choice. It was either GoPro or buy a new one of these. And I'm happy I bought it because it makes it recording like now easy. On the road, I can decide that, hey, I just want to make a video. I don't have to think ahead and put the GoPros on, unless I want other angles, which usually I only do on big trips. And so all in all, I'm happy with the purchase. I'm glad I bought it. It's worked out pretty well so far, except for that 128 gig card, and that's not the fault of the, well, I guess it's kind of the fault of the manufacturer. They could have made it take a bigger card, but I think they say a 64 is supposed to be the max, so even though it will record with the other one, they were right. For good quality video, it is the max. So basically, take away from this, the 10C Pro is awesome. I love it. Card issue, not a big deal. And charging capability, that's the other problem I do know, is the battery's a little weak. I do notice the camera will shut off a little sooner than the old one did, it seems like, but that could just be a firmware fix. However, if you're on that battery pack plugged into the camera, it works out really well. So that's just my 2 cents on the Sena 10C Pro and some of the things I like about it, some of the things I've learned about it since I bought it, and thought I'd pass those on to you guys. As for me, I am about maybe 7 minutes away from work, so I am going to shut this off and get my butt there and work my 8 hours, get out at 9, and call it a day, and just enjoy the rest of my night. I hope all you out there are doing well, and as always, keep it safe. This is Moose. I'll be talking at you. See ya.